Hello my dear students and welcome to Al-Ghad educational videos. Today you are gonna start unit number 9, lesson number 2 and top notch 2. As you know well, this unit is about living in cyberspace. Prepare your books, prepare your notebooks and be ready. First, we have two different pictures. On the left, we have a picture of Apple phones, and on the right, we have a picture of Samsung phones. So, the first sentence, Apple phones are expensive. The second sentence, Samsung phones are expensive as well. So, if I want to make these two both statements in just one sentence, how can I make it? Here we have the adjective expensive in the two sentences given here. If I want to make these two sentences into just one sentence, I use the form as adjective as. So it will be Samsung phones are as expensive as Apple phones, or I can start with Apple phones. I say Apple phones are as expensive as Samsung phones. So I put as, and between them I replace the adjective. That's called comparison of as, adjective or feature as. So, if the two things or people have the same features, I use as the feature or adjective as. The same like the example given here, as we said, Samsung phones are as expensive as Apple phones. Now in your notebooks, use either as, or the negative form. So as, affirmative form, or not as, the negative form. Example, if we say Kingdom Tower in Riyadh is Khalifa Tower in Dubai, and we have here not high, that's the negative form. So I say Kingdom Tower in Riyadh is not as high as Khalifa Tower in Dubai. So in your notebooks, here we have 10 sentences. Use the adjective between the brackets and complete these sentences using as, or negative form not as. One more example, the blue car is, that's affirmative form, is. So we have here the red car, and we have the adjective fast. Between the brackets I use as and put fast between them, as fast as the red car. So the right answer will be as fast as the red car. In your notebook, take 4 more minutes and think of the answers, and as I told you before, you can pause the video and complete your answer. Then we're gonna check your answers together. Number 2, Peter is, we have here not tall, so Peter is not as tall as Fred. The violin is not as low as the cello, and the violin and the cello are musical instruments. Number 4, this copy is as bad as the other one. Number 5, Oliver is as optimistic as Peter. Number 6, today it's not as windy as yesterday. Number 7, the tomato soup was as delicious as the mushroom soup. Number 8, grapefruit juice is not as sweet as lemonade. And number 9, Nick is as brave as Kevin. Number 10, silver is not as heavy as gold. So, if I want to make comparison and the two parts of the comparison have the same features, that's called similarity. That's called what? Similarity. And I use the affirmative form of as. But if they are different, I use the negative form, and that's called differences. So let's talk about how can we express similarity as we said before. Use as the affirmative form from as to say that two things are equal or are the same. The new speakers are as good as the old ones. Also, I use the adverb just for emphasis to emphasize the sentence or the information. I say, the iFriend has just as many features as the F40. And the iFriend F40 are electronic devices. Also, I use the adverb almost to say two things are very similar but not exactly the same if we have a slightly different feature. So I use almost. That means they are not typically the same. They are not typically or exactly the same. I say the Zeta P has almost as much memory as the Panasonic, but it's a lot cheaper. So the slightly different feature here is a lot cheaper. That's why we use almost. So to express similarity, we use the affirmative form of as adjective or as feature as. Or number 2, I use the adverb of just and they have the same meaning, but I use it for emphasis. And finally, while expressing similarity, I use the adverb almost if the two things are very similar but not exactly the same. Okay, is that clear? The next part, on the other hand, we have the difference. How can we express the difference? Actually, we use the negative form of as, so not as, adjective or feature as, to say that two things are different. My new air conditioner isn't as noisy as the old one. Also, we use the adverb quite when the difference is very small. When the difference is very small, I use the adverb quite. So I say, the F30 doesn't cost quite as much as the LX. If there is a big difference, I use the adverb nearly. So, our old monitor wasn't nearly as big as the new one. The new one is much bigger. And these are different ways to express differences. So in the first part, negative form of as. The second one, I use it quite if the difference is very small, and I use the adverb nearly if the difference is really big. Also, you can shorten the statements with as when the meaning is clear. And instead of saying the older monitor was great but the new one is just as good as the old one, I can cancel as the old one because it's already understood. Have you seen colors in your laptop? Mine isn't nearly as nice. Instead of saying as nice as his laptop, I can say nearly as nice because the meaning is clear. Your books. Exercise A. Read each statement about a product and write a sentence with as and the Q to compare the products. Here use as, feature or adjective as, and the Q between brackets just, almost, nearly, or quite. Example number 1, here we have just. Just that means we're gonna talk about, we are gonna express similarity or differences. Actually, we're gonna talk about similarity. Here we have two sentences. We need them to be just one sentence using the comparison form as. The new Shine keyboard is popular. The second sentence, the one from Digitech is popular too. How can I make it using as and just? I'll say the new Shine keyboard is just as popular as the one from Digitech. Take 5 minutes, pause the video and complete answering 2 to 6. Okay, number 2. The XQ joystick is easy to use. The J-Rock joystick is also easy to use. Here we have just. That means we're gonna talk about similarity. I'll say the XQ joystick is just as easy to use as the J-Rock joystick. So we have just as the features, or the feature we have here, easy to use as the J-Rock joystick. And we use the joystick in computer games. Number 3. The C50 monitor is large. The C30 monitor is a little larger than the C50. Here we have almost. That means we are gonna talk about similarity, but we have, they are not exactly the same. They are not exactly the same. So I say the C50 monitor is almost as large as the C50 monitor. Number 4. Comtech's new mini tablet is very small. Sango's new mini tablet is also very small. Use just. Also we are expressing similarity. I say Comtech's new mini tablet is just as small as Sango's new mini tablet. That's great. Number 5. The CCV speakers are very powerful. The Soundtech speakers are much more powerful. Here we have not nearly. That means we are expressing difference, not similarity. Very good. So how can we make it? I say the CCV speakers are not nearly as powerful as the Soundtech speakers. Well done. Number 6. The Icon monitors are very inexpensive. The Sentinel monitors are a little more expensive. Not quite. Also we have negative form and a quite. That means we are expressing differences. I say the Sentinel monitors are not quite as inexpensive as the Icon monitors. Well done. Now, on a separate sheet of paper in your notebooks, write 6 statements comparing things you are familiar with. Use as. You can say whatever you want. Example: in my opinion, the Mardino sports car isn't nearly as good as the Striga. You can make use of these ideas. You can compare cars, different types of cars, or electronic products, or even stores or restaurants, or all your own ideas, up to you. Don't forget to write 3 similarities and 3 differences in your notebook. Also, you can pause your video and write down your answers. Now let's talk about the conversation. Have a look at the picture. What do we have here? Yeah, we have two men. Guess what? Where are they? Maybe they are at a hotel, at home, or even at work. What do you think they are talking about? Here we have the joystick there in the picture. Maybe they are talking about games or any other things. We don't know. So listen carefully to the conversation and find out what are they exactly talking about.
Page 103, Conversation Model. Exercise A. Listen to someone compare product features.
I'm thinking about getting a new game controller.
Oh yeah? What kind?
Everyone says I should get a macro.
Well, I've heard that the Panatel is as good as the macro, but it costs a lot less.
Really? I'll check it out.
So what are they exactly talking about? Yeah, they are comparing product features. Product feature. The first speaker said, I'm thinking about getting a new game controller. The second one, oh yeah, what kind? He said, everyone says I should get a macro, and a macro here, that's a product model or a brand. Oh well, I've heard that the Panatel is as good as the macro, but it costs a lot less. Really? I'll check it out. That's right. Now listen and repeat.
Page 103, Conversation Model. Exercise B, Rhythm and Intonation. Listen again and repeat. Then practice the conversation model with a partner.
I'm thinking about getting a new game controller.
Oh yeah? What kind?
Everyone says I should get a macro.
Well, I've heard that the Panatel is as good as the macro, but it costs a lot less.
Really? I'll check it out.
Okay, you can practice the conversation. Now it's your turn to complete the conversation here, A, B, between the two persons. Here with a partner, actually can work on your own. Change the conversation model using the magazine rating to compare features of different products. Use as, then it change rules. Okay, here. And don't forget to send the answer via email. Thanks so much for now. Have a good day.